just started kind of come into under HBO's radar with Oz.
I had done things like a bunch of Law and Orders, The Practice, Oz.
And the audition process for The Wire, I have to say, was probably the easiest job I ever got.
Thank God for Alexa Fogel. She had scoured the streets of New York until she found me and had me come in and read. And it was just one audition for one character, and it was Omar Devon Little.
I auditioned twice. I initially auditioned for the role of Stringer Bell, which I clearly did not fit the description for. So they called me back in for Carver the second time I went in, and I think I threw some extra in there, which made them laugh. Shooting in Baltimore without being on a sound stage and using actual locations, and at times, I'm not sure how often, but it seemed to me to be pretty like daily, using various people from the neighborhood to help in securing the locations or the areas.
They love you, like they're your family. I remember even being on set in front of people's houses, and where a lot of people would be upset and frustrated or whatever, there'd be ladies who'd be like, you guys want to come in? We got food if you want, we'll cook for you guys. Like, it was such like a family-oriented, it was amazing. When we were filming that first scene with Dominic and I, he comes to the house and we wound up having sex. We were doing the scene over and over, and we had a Hungarian, I think he's Hungarian, director, Peter Medak, and he kept screaming, "Louder! Louder! Climax! No!" And we did that over and over and over. We were never allowed back in that house because the people thought that we were shooting porn.
It felt to me like I was making an independent movie every day that I went to work. Like we can't really afford to build, this office, so we're going to borrow this office.
The first season, police headquarters, which is where I spent most of my time, was in a building in downtown Baltimore, just a high-rise office building. We had a floor, which they turned into the precinct. In the second season, they reproduced that exact set in a warehouse on the outskirts of Baltimore. And it was down to like the screw in the wall. I mean, it's amazing what they did.
Season 1, I was completely ignorant to a lot of things, most particularly the mind of David Simon. When he came back with season 2 with the docs, I was very angry. I thought that, this white man had taken something that black people had made good, and now he wants to make it a white show.
So we called up David Simon to voice our frustration, and he advised us to use the frustration that we were having.
I knew David was out to tell the story of the city from a lot of different angles.
David Simon, you got to trust a little bit. As long as I wasn't asked to leave, I was happy to stay.
In season 3, when he started to tie in all these storylines, and I started to see how he was, weaving and connecting these characters.
I arrived on the set one day. The second AD came up with this big shit-eating grin on his face and said, "Have you seen the script of the next episode yet?" I was thinking about having Ross show up in this gay bar, and the next script comes out. I'm eagerly waiting to see what's going to happen. Nothing. So I went up to David on the set one day and I said, "David, this gay thing with Rawls, I'm ready for anything, whatever you want to do." And he just looked at me, nodded his head, and walked away. And never touched it again. And it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because he just planted the seed in everybody's head.
For me, when I started whistling that, for it to be real in my head, I had to take it to Elmer Fudd. And instead of the farmer in the dell, he used to be, "A hunting we will go, a hunting we will go."
When Omar got blown away, when Stringer got blown away, when Wallace got blown away, Creed.
When D'Angelo Barksdale went down, he was like one of the most, he was a lot of people's favorite character on that show, Larry Gilliard. I thought, if they can kill him, they can kill anybody.
I go into the production office, I'm like, yo, you guys can't have me kill Snoop. I can't be the one that does it. And it's funny, because as soon as I walked out of Nina Noble's office, Snoop walked in, and I'm like, sis, she's like, I already know. I just read it.
I think the only death that I was kind of shocked by was Michael K. Williams's character, because I thought Omar was invincible.
It felt like everybody wanted to mourn, but first of all, we had a job to do. We had a schedule to adhere to. And I don't think no one wanted to deal with the reality, the fact that everybody wanted to mourn a fictitious character.
It's always a little sad when, when something like that ends. I mean, we spent 5 years together. I
was upset. The friendships I made on the show were very important to me, were very special to me. I'd grown to take Baltimore on as kind of like a second home.
To see that it still resonates today, like there's still people who are gravitating towards it and still learning about it, it's probably one of the most amazing feelings ever.
It's become a bona fide social document, I think. I mean, as you know, there are college courses being taught using The Wire as an example of where society was at the time. And
when the Attorney General begs a show creator to please bring a show back, and as Eric Holder did to David Simon, and David says, sure, let's talk about changing the laws. I mean, that's about as impactful as it can get.
There are no good guys and bad guys. There are people, complicated, complex, dynamic people, and it would behoove us all to take the time to look and listen to them.